Welcome back to the Horse Racing Network with me, Izzy Phillips, and I'm joined as always by racing broadcaster and journalist Paul Auster. And we're going to be taking a look ahead to this weekend's racing, starting with the Ayr Gold Cup and then moving on to the Mill Reef at Newbury. A good weekend's racing coming up, Paul. We've had a little bit of success in our last preview, so hopefully we can carry that on.
Yeah, we were in good form last weekend, and I'm hoping it's more of the same. We've got very good handicap racing at both Ayr and Newbury. We're focusing on the handicaps at Ayr, but there's also the Mill Reef Stakes at Newbury as well. So it's a really good doubleheader we've got for you.
Absolutely. We're going to kick things off at Ayr and we're going to start out with the Silver Cup. But before we do, we'll take a look towards the weather. We've got good to soft ground, soft in places at the moment at Ayr, but there is a little bit of rain forecast sort of throughout racing and in the evening on Saturday. So bearing in mind here that the ground could turn soft at Ayr. In the market for the Silver Cup, we do have a maximum field of 25 runners, and we've got two quite well fancied horses in at the top of the market here. So in the field here, we've got a maximum field of runners of 25, a full field. So I'm not going to read out all 25 runners, Paul, but we have got couple of fancied horses at the top of the market, and it's not hard to see why. A very well fancied Bin Aria for William Haggis, and obviously he's been in flying form, so well fancied at around 5-1 at the moment. And then second in the betting, you've got Nariko, and he's got Oisin Murphy on board. Again, another flying racing personality at the moment, can seem to do absolutely no wrong. You've then got Far Above the Dream, Bodie Bear, Candy, Roberto Caro, Sudden Flight, Dark 30, and sort of bigger the rest, really. Who takes your eye here? It looks quite an open race, but two well-fancied horses.
Yeah, they are. Bin Aria and Nariko. They're always notoriously difficult, these bronze, silver and gold cups. The bronze cup is being run on Friday. And after Friday, we'll probably get a better idea of where, if any, the draw bias comes. Now, I noticed that in the Gold Cup, which we'll come to soon enough, a lot of the trainers chose to go high on the draw. But in the 5 furlong handicap that was run this afternoon on Thursday, we're recording this later on Thursday afternoon, horses drawn low had a distinct advantage on the 5 furlong course. Whether that will even out once we run over 6 remains to be seen. So Bin Harir is drawn 19, Nariko drawn 18, and then next in the betting, they're drawn 24 and 21, which suggests that the bookies think that the higher numbers are going to be at an advantage. It remains to be seen. Bin Aria is an improving handicapper, only a 3-year-old, potentially could be better than a handicapper, but has been beaten in 2 handicaps of late at Newmarket and Ascot. Quite White should win and be a hot favourite to win in what is probably a tougher race. I'm not quite sure. But I'm sure it'll be thereabouts, as will Nariko, who's won 4 of its last 5 races for Hugo Palmer and Oisin Murphy, and won a really decent race at Hamilton last time. But without going into too many of them, I've picked up on 2 horses that I think are of interest. In the low numbers, a horse called Sergeant Wilco for Kevin Ryan and Tom Eves. Kevin's got a great record at this meeting in the big handicaps. And Sergeant Wilco ran a really good race, not very far behind Bin Harir, actually, last time out at Ascot. And that was a sign of him returning to form. And what's prompted that return to form is the easier ground, because he's a horse who likes to get his toe in. It was good to soft at Ascot. He was 6th of 19 that day. He runs off the same mark. He's drawn low in 3. And as I said, the winner of the 5 furlong handicap on Thursday was a low-drawn horse. 20-1 shot, Sergeant Wilco. And I'd be splitting my bets in most of the big handicaps at Ayr this weekend. And so Candy is my other choice, a previous course and distance winner, trained by Richard Spencer, who's doing really well in the big sprint handicaps this season. Remember his Stewards Cup, what was it, 1, 2, 4? I think something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he had terrific success there. And this Candy was fourth in that race, just behind Bin Harir, only half a length behind. He's 14-1, Candy, and is a previous course and distance winner and likes the soft ground. It won a listed race on soft ground at Redcar last season. So Candy at 14-1 and Sergeant Wilco at 20-1 in different parts of the course are my two for the Silver Cup.
I think I will probably stick with Noriko here. I'm going to stick towards the top of the market. I have got a bit of an old favourite in Aberama Gold at a bigger
Oh.
price as well, but that is purely sentimental. Well, I say that, but he has won a couple of races this season, so he can spring a surprise. So I will probably have a little each way go on him, but I think my main fancy here, bit unoriginal, obviously. Two out of the two fancied horses, I fancy one of them, and that is Noriko. The reason being is because I just feel that if that rain does come, the ground will really benefit him. And obviously got Oisin Murphy on board, as I mentioned at the top, and I just think that he, like I said, can do no wrong at the moment. So I'm going to stick with Noriko for the Silver Cup. Well, we've done silver, so stands to reason that the next one we would do is gold at 3:35. The Gold Cup is also run over 6 furlongs. So we've got towards the top of the market Northern Ticker for Paul Mulrennan, Ain't Nobody ridden by James Doyle, Two Tribes for David Egan, Pura Sangue for the informed Oisin Murphy, Strike Red for Billy Garrity, and Alpha Kalenic for Sylvester de Souza. Outside of that, you've got Bigger the Rest because we have got another maxed out field of 25 runners here. This is really good for Ayr. Fantastic to see full race cards. But who do you like the look of, Paul?
Well, again, I'm going to be going with two. I have to say, this is one of my favourite days racing of the year because I can't remember how many years ago it was. I had the biggest double bet of my life. It was when Keto won the Ayr Gold Cup for David Chapman at 25-1. And about half an hour before, a horse of Michael Stout's had won the Newbury Autumn Cup. The name has just escaped me, at 20-1. So I had them in an each way double, the two of them, and it was one of the best payouts of my racing career. Also, the Gold Cup has been a lucky race for me. My clients were on Bielsa at really good odds when that came alone up the stand side to win a few years ago. Now, the thing about this race is that a lot of people will be looking at a horse called Ain't Nobody, because Ain't Nobody was second to Asphora in the Nunthorpe Stakes on its penultimate start, and is running off the same handicap mark there of 99, whereas now it's rated 112, so it's actually £13 well in. And under normal circumstances, you would say that's probably enough to be almost a certainty. But this is a 25 runner handicap, and since then it's gone back up to 6 furlongs and didn't run well behind Big Mojo in the Betfred Sprint Cup. But that, of course, was Group 1. However, even though it's Kevin Ryan, I just can't have it. I think it might have been a real fluke, that run when it was second at 100-1 to Asphora. Northern Ticker, we've mentioned, at the top of the market, won a £100,000 handicap at York last time out. Carries a £5 penalty for Michael Dodds. It's effective on any ground, so that's one of the benefits of that horse. Now, again, I've gone with horses drawn in different parts of the track here, and after having a good look through, the first one that caught my eye is a very unexposed 3-year-old, trained by Clive Cox, who's a terrific trainer of sprinters, and it's called Flash Harry. And Flash Harry is a really nice horse. He's had 5 runs. His form figures are 2-1, 2-3-1. He's been really consistent. His handicap bow was in the Shergar Cup, where he came third. And then on his latest run, he won in really good style off 95 at Goodwood. He also carries a £5 penalty, but Jack Nicholls is claiming the £5 back. He could, I think, potentially be a group class performer, this horse. And he's by Harry Angel, who, of course, was also trained by Clive Cox, and he won a Betfair Sprint Cup at Haydock Group 1 in heavy ground. So even though Flash Harry hasn't tried the service, I think he'll go on it. And he's 14-1 each way for 5 or 6 places, Flash Harry. The other one I'm interested in is a really big prize, a horse called Desert Falcon. And Desert Falcon is trained by Julie Camacho and is the mount of Rowan Scott. It was a winner at York just last week where it just beat Pocklington in a photo finish, carries a £5 penalty, bang in form, drawn low in stall 5, and it also stays 7 furlongs, which is always good in these hot 6 furlongs handicap. And that one is a 40 to 1 shot each way, and I could see it running very well indeed.
Well, you've also got in here at a little bit of a bigger price. Alpha Kalenic hasn't been seen on a course for 343 days, has been around what looks like a multitude of different ownerships. But actually, before coming fifth in the last race of the season, there's a string of ones next to their name, and one of those is the Silver Cup from last year. So can Alpha Kalenic graduate from silver to gold with 343 days off the track? It remains to be seen, but horses for courses, stranger things have happened. So that's one that I will probably be keeping my eye on. I don't have a huge fancy in this, but again, a little bit sentimental, similar to Aberama Gold. I do like Manchu Falls. I've backed him a couple of times. He's had a couple of decent runs this season. Was actually second to Northern Ticker at York in August, so could run quite well here. I think again something to bear in mind, especially when it comes to Comanche Falls, is that he probably would prefer it to be on the firmer side, and it does look like we're going to get soft conditions here, so not a huge bet for me. But yeah, one of interest for me is Alpha Kalenic. Just interested to see how she runs, because this could be she could go well. Again, should prefer a slightly firmer surface, so weather dependent, that one.
Well, Alpha Kalenic last season, Izzy, was such a progressive finish. It was a huge advertisement for her trainer, who brought her up from very low grade handicaps to keep winning. She just kept winning all the way through to the Silver Cup. So she was a real revelation. If she is fit and well now, she's obviously had a problem to be off all season. But if she's fit and well, who knows how much she's left in the tank. So I'd also very quickly just mention Aram, because of course he was my handicapper to follow at the start of the season. He's done really well. He's won a few races, and he's been placed in lots of good races. He kept running into good horses, but I just think that now the handicapper's got him. So although I'd love him to win, I feel that probably he has more than his share of weight.
Absolutely. That's all we're going to look at Ayr, but we're going to make our way over to Newbury on Saturday, where they are hosting the Group 2 Mill Reef Stakes, obviously named after Mill Reef, such a fantastic course. We've got a little weather update for Newbury. We're currently good to soft in places there as well. However, not so much rain, maybe a chance of a sprinkling on Saturday, but other than that, dry. So it looks like good to soft, potentially on the good side by racing on Saturday. And in this field, we've got 8 out of a possible maximum field of 20 runners. And kicking us off at the top of the market, we have Into the Sky. We then have William Buick and Charlie Appleby teaming up with Words of Truth. Rock on Thunder for Kevin Stott and Kevin Ryan. Watcher Snoop, Rydale Frosty, Sands of Spain, Flying Comet, and Gold Queen Kindly.
This year, the Mill Reef Stakes possibly isn't a vintage renewal, but we'll have to wait and see. Something really just might step up. But it's run in honour of Jeff Lewis, who, of course, was Mill Reef's jockey. And Jeff was one of the great jockeys of the 60s, 70s and 80s. He also went on to be a Group 1 winning trainer, was a terrific character. In my early days as a racecourse journalist, I interviewed him a number of times. He was terrific fun, very witty, funny, and he lived a long and a good life, and he was a great jockey, and he's remembered in this year's Mill Reef Stakes. Now, 8 runners is kind of an average field, I think, for the race. Into the Sky is a fascinating runner because it's only had 1 run. It's trained by Jim Boyle, who isn't a Group 2 standard trainer. Normally, he doesn't have that class of horse. But this horse is by Starman. It made its debut at Newbury over 6.5 furlongs just over 3 weeks ago, and it put up a stunning performance. It won by 7.5 lengths. It pulled hard in the early stages of the race. It then went clear at halfway, and they never saw which way it went. And it was no surprise to hear that earlier this week the horse was sold for an undisclosed sum. So your guess is as good as mine as to how much was paid. It was bought by Michael Tabor's wife, Doreen Tabor, and her partners. And I suspect they paid a lot of money for this horse. And it stays with Jim Boyle at the moment. So a huge chance for Jim Boyle to step up from being a trainer of really good handicappers in the past, but to have a proper group class horse. This is a huge race for him. It could be a make or break moment for his yard to make that next level. And if it is improved on what it's done first time out, it could be an exciting horse. Now, the Godolphin horse is on a hat-trick after wins at Ascot and Newmarket. There were 2 novice races. It won them both very nicely, including against Watcher Snoop, who's reopposing Hugo Palmer's horse. No reason why that one really should turn it around, except for that Watcher Snoop has won on soft ground and Words of Truth hasn't. But I think that the horse really to focus on is Rock on Thunder, because Kevin Ryan does really well with all his horses. But Rock on Thunder, a winner on debut, then 9th at Royal Ascot in the Coventry. He was then 2nd in a listed race at Newbury, and then ran a cracker to be 2nd to Live Plan in the Gimcrack Group 2 last time out at York. So he's the one that brings the Group 2 form to the table. Now, he's not proven on the ground, but I think there's every chance that he will handle it, because his half-brother, San Donato, was 3rd in the French 2,000 guineas in the mud, and another half-brother was a heavy ground winner for Andre Fabre in France. So it's 7-2. I think Rock on Thunder is the value bet here in the Mill Reef. And that said, I do hope that Into the Sky runs really well for Jim Boyle.
I honestly, I think you couldn't have said it any better, to be honest there, Paul. I fully agree with you. Rock on Thunder, I think, does just bring that class to the race. Like you say, he's been running in much better races than the rest of his opponents here today, and running well in those races as well. You know, it's not as if he's been disgraced out the back. I think he's run to his credit. And I think that he's a really good price currently at 7-2. I'm surprised he's not favourite. I mean, I understand that, you know, obviously Into the Sky has won, but that was a much lower grade race. Obviously, we don't know where the ceiling is. But I was quite surprised to see that Rock on Thunder wasn't actually favourite here. I can see why Words of Truth is quite well fancied. Obviously, he also has beaten quite a few in here as well. And obviously, Words of Truth has beaten Watcher Snoop, and then Watcher Snoop has gone on to win his next race. So that's kind of franked the form there of Words of Truth. So I've got it between Words of Truth and Rock on Thunder, but I certainly do like Rock on Thunder at the price. And I know you've mentioned a bit about the fact that perhaps neither of them have proven on that slightly softer surface, but I think we've got to remember with Newbury that there isn't currently a huge amount of rain, if any, forecast over the next couple of days. So that ground isn't necessarily going to be soft in the same way that we're thinking that it might be up at Ayr. So I'm in agreement. So hopefully Rock on for a winner, because
Rock on, Tommy.
We're agreed.
Yeah, maximum bet. It's got to be, if both of us are on the same page for the first time in history, it's got to be a maximum bet. So I was just going to say the only reason I think that it's not favoured is that it's not proven on the ground, Kevin Ryan's horse. But as I say, the 2 siblings have both won on heavy ground. So for me, I'm not particularly concerned about the ease underfoot. And it's rated 108, which is a stone clear of Words of Truth. And that's 5-2, and Rock on Thunder 7-2. So there you go. We'll see. But I hope it's a good race, and I do wish Jim Boyle the best with Into the Sky. But Rock on Thunder will do.
Absolutely, but that is all we've got time for ahead of previewing Saturday's racing. We do wish you all the best, and don't forget to like and subscribe.